All right. So, my friend Firelord Curson, hell of a mouthful, dude, sent me this link this morning. I think almost as I woke up, in case you're wondering why I still look a bit sleepy. Right. He sent me this link. This is on cbr.com. And they're discussing how they can fix essentially what, potentially has become an issue with the MK storyline. Now, I've made no bones about it that MK11 is not my favorite Mortal Kombat game. Not even close, right? The extent of what I do in Mortal Kombat 11 is light up Cabal and play online. That's it, right? That's all I do. Don't care about the rest of it. Don't care about the story and things like that. And so while we're all anticipating the wait of MK12, right, it's why I chose the thumbnail that I did, which was me in the middle wondering what MK12 will be like, MK12 finally showing itself, and sort of my hope that, and then you've got like the classic part of me, so the old girlfriend style, that you remember from the yesteryear, which was great. The classic MK that you hope we'll get. So hopefully hopefully in my imagination we're gonna get both, right? Modern graphics with classic MK, right? So this sort of delves into it in regards to how, the problem with sort of, MK11 storyline, okay, is that it's too convoluted, and the whole thing with time travel and stuff has just become a massive issue. So MK11 added in time travel, other elements that muddle the narrative, not to mention that the game hasn't had a traditional tournament story for years. I've talked about this as well, and this is the thing that I actually really like, the premise of MK Armageddon, where magic was actually literally tearing at the fabric of all creation, and you actually had to, because it was becoming too much, everyone was becoming too decadent in magic and magic usage, and so therefore it had to be scaled back, right? And it was becoming too great, right? And I actually really like that premise of that. It's like, well, we're taking this magic, it's coming from somewhere. Where's it coming from? And then if more and more powerful warriors are using this energy sources, if you will, this magic source, then it's gonna start to cause problems. And I actually kind of like that. Anyway, so that'd be kind of cool. But we actually haven't had a tournament. It would explain too, when you think about it, why, not every single person that fights in an MK tournament to save the realms, there's not like 1,000 people competing. It's only a very, very tiny handful of people. And that is probably for that very reason, right? Because the gods realized that they can't have 1,000 people running around with these sorts of abilities and powers, because it will affect the fabric of all creation. And secondly, it's by choosing the absolute elite, it means that they're also not going to be encouraging thousands of people to get power, right? And that they can only focus on the tiny few, and that tiny few will be good enough, if you will, to to be able to harness and be respectful and be responsible with that power, right? Which is why, I'm not a big fan of the MK new movie either. That was absolute trash. I don't care what anyone says. They completely, it's just fan fiction. Most of it was fan fiction. Changing the entire storyline. MK on the box. I don't care, man. You change the entire storyline, right? Anyway, MK 2011's version wiped the slate clean from the events of MK Armageddon. From there, MK10 introduced a new generation of combatants, although they weren't featured nearly as much as fans were hoping for. Mortal Kombat 11 mostly shifted the focus back to the classic roster, primarily due to its new story focused on time travel. Yeah, but like again, they did a lot of retcons as well. Right? I know you own the game, but like after 30 years of particular storylines being a certain way and you just decide to retcon it for modern audiences, it doesn't wash with me, right? We're all grown-ups here. I'm pretty sure we can handle the old storylines, which was nothing wrong with the old storylines either. Okay, I liked what 2011 did because it took a sidestep from the original classic trilogy or the classic games and set a new path without messing with that. And in 2011 was great. 2011 MK was the last MK that we got, which was awesome, right? Because in MK 10 and 11 we started getting this really stupid interactive storytelling, you know, and like I don't care for all the cinematic storytelling. It doesn't I just don't care, right? I'd much rather have every proper MK character in a game than you wasting millions of dollars on story that's forgettable, right? The next game would do better to place an equal emphasis on both new fighters and old school characters. This would help to move the story in a new direction without getting too... No, I don't agree with that. They've done that for like the last 2 games. Right? They've done that for the last 2 games. This is why I think MK12 needs to be a massive Armageddon 2.0. I think we're at that point now. Like, you know, it's 3 games. We've had 2011, 10, 11... We need an Armageddon game now, right? We're actually overdue for it if you look at the timeline, right? We got Deadly Alliance, Deception, and then we got Armageddon. In the original trilogy, we got MK 1, 2, 3, and I guess you could include Ultimate MK 3. But as far as home releases go, as far as like proper high-end quality home releases go, trilogy, like for a PlayStation fan, that was our Ultimate MK3 home version, because we couldn't get Ultimate MK3 because Saturn bought up the rights for it, so we couldn't get Ultimate MK3. So they went, we'll get around that and make trilogy. It's a whole new named game, new changes to it, so they could release it, and that was great, right? So thank God for that. I wonder if Sega Saturn never did that. I wonder if we ever would have gotten trilogy. But we are definitely due. We're definitely due for a massive roster again. I don't give a poo about new characters, right? Just give us some massive Armageddon 2.0, all of it, right? You know, and just, I don't even care for like, you know, like I mentioned about sort of massive integrated story. Give us place cards with like a general outline and we'll just figure out the rest. And then just give like their own ending for every character, not some overarching sort of tournament thing. Anyway, the next game would also mean that MK's near decade-long storyline that began in 2011 is officially over. Thank God. Although I did love 2011's. It's just what they did after that was awful. Allowing the franchise to be a new saga that welcomes newcomers and old school players alike. You don't. Yeah, but you don't need to have new characters to attract old people. Look at Street Fighter. Look at Tekken and stuff like that. Like, they still lean heavily into their base roster, and they'll still introduce new characters, but they seem to do it in a way that doesn't cause massive conflict, right? Because I think they still give... The thing is, the Japanese developers still give, like, the fans the characters, and don't walk like, I don't want no 80-year-old Johnny Cage, some 70-year-old Scorpion with this dumbass timeline stuff. Like, this is again the problem, you know, like, because eventually like developers would be left with 2 choices: either time travel back, or just don't even bother with time. Don't even talk about story, right? Because this is the problem when you tell story, is that characters are going to get older. We don't want ancient characters running around with a walk in a wheelchair. All right. And this is where some fighting games don't even bother. They basically, every time a game comes out, it's kind of like, you know, yeah, they're doing this, you know, and then they get their own little ending and that's it. They don't have some evolving storyline that takes them through time and then ages everyone up, right? The best way to do this is go back to Mortal Kombat's roots, using a story motif familiar with my fancy tournament. Yeah, a tournament would be great. That's how it was worked. And what would be interesting, what I would love to see. Now, I think I might be saying something stupid here, but I could be wrong. There's always been an MK tournament, right? But we've always referenced the MK tournament between Earthrealm and Outworld, right? Which means that technically, we never get to see the other tournaments between the other realms and other realms. That would be cool. Just saying, right? We get to see them. What's the tournaments between Netherrealm and Chaos Realm like? If that's something that's, you know, going on, or is Outworld with Shao Kahn the only realm that's invading? Maybe it isn't. Maybe it's time to look at that there are other tyrants out there who are also trying to invade, and that sometimes even they're trying to invade Outworld, and Outworld has to defend themselves against that. See, that would be interesting. The passing of guard never happened in MK10, which was likely why the Combat kids, which were fairly forgettable. No, like a couple of them were okay, like Takeda and Kung Jin or whatever his name is. They're alright, you know. But again, this is the problem with, like, you know, hand-me-down knockoffs of your main characters. Again, this is the problem with storylines that delve through time. Like, you know, you could create multiple stories, you know, without having to sort of evolve 10, 20, 30 years down the track. Like, you can just, you know, keep within 6 months or a year. Like, so that way you keep everyone sort of roughly around the same ages that they were. And we don't have to pass them off to characters that we know. We're sitting there going, I just want to use Sonya. I don't want to use Cassie. I want to use Cage. I don't want to use Cassie. Right? Do you know what I mean? Although what they did with Takeda and Kung Jin was actually really unique, right? But we didn't get them back, did we? Because of modern audiences. Anyway, the true reset needs to happen in order to move forward by setting this stage a new roster of fighters and new adventures ahead of them, as well as plenty of gruesome fatalities, without focusing too much on crossover characters. Yeah, like none. Like, I got called an old man because I don't want guest characters in my Mortal Kombat game. And they guest characters sell money. No, they don't. Sorry, sell the games. No, they don't. Mortal Kombat sells Mortal Kombat, not some stupid ass, you know, guest character that no one cares about and is broken beyond belief. Give me a break, right? And the plenty of gruesome fatalities, yeah, we need to scale that back too. MK11's was great, quick, brutal, done. Right? This whole John Woo slowdown, we need to see every single detail, like the splitting of an eyeball. I'm over it. This is gore porn. Get back to the tournament. The Asian theme, like, it's just awesome. Like, that's what I grew up with, and that's what drew a lot of fans into MK. So anyway, I'll leave it there. Let me know what you guys think. It's a good article. I'll post a link in the description for it. Thanks again to Philo for sharing this with me. And yeah, I'll catch you guys next time. See ya.